Welcome to Lead the Meet, and here in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to use Google Meet for high performance collaboration. So basically the things we're going to cover, I'm going to show you how to master Google Meet as a communication tool for leading, teaching, selling, collaborating, whatever you need. And I want to show you how to look and sound professional even without a high-end tech team. And I will show you the main Google Meet features for engagement, clarity, productivity. And last but not least, I'll show you how to integrate with Calendar, Gmail, Docs, Slides, and more. So first things first, we need to understand how to schedule and join meetings. I have a separate course on using Calendar, but very quickly for your benefit, let's schedule a Google Meet on Friday. We'll call it test. It's really simple. You just drop down here and you say Google Meet. You can add and edit video call options, so you can set some defaults and save. I usually just use the default. You can set it so that it will take notes. It will record the meeting and include captions. Highly useful. You can set who your guests are, and you can set breakout rooms. So breakout rooms, you can, let's see what the maximum is. I've never actually used it to its maximum. That's a lot of breakout rooms. I don't know that I ever can see a point where I'd use 43 breakout rooms, but apparently you can still do more. Let's do reasonable. If you had them, you can shuffle your participants. I'm the only participant, so I can't shuffle. But then you can just say Jeff's in breakout 1, somebody else is in breakout 2. So we're going to get rid of that because I don't need a breakout. But here you can add who's a co-host, who's a contributor. Again, you can just add them here, clicking on. So I can share that now. I haven't turned on host controls. Okay, there we go. So contributors can share. By the way, I have these all set to default, so I don't do this every meeting. I let my contributors share their screen, use chat, use reactions. Now, I don't worry about this. I usually leave my meetings open or trusted. So if they're invited using their Google account, they can be in. Or if I'm doing a webinar, I'm going to do restricted. And then you can share other activities. So now I should be able to add a co-host. Yes, I can. And I can add a contributor if I had more people in the call. So you just hit save. That's how you schedule. Really easy. Now, if you just want to have a meeting, it's on the fly, and you just hit meet:new, which is what I'm going to do, and Google forwards that to meet.google.com. And it says up here, my microphone and camera in use. Great. I'm going to show you the basics. So top right, you can take notes with Gemini. And you see I can also transcribe, so I can start taking notes. And that'll take place in the background. Down over here is the time. This is the name of the meeting. And I don't think you can edit it once the meeting starts, but you can edit it before the meeting starts. And up here you can see this call is being transcribed. This is as complicated as the dashboard gets. Up here I've got various reactions, so if I want to send a heart or thumbs up or celebration, applause, laughing so hard I'm crying, shocked, sad, thinking, don't agree. And then I can change the skin tone for my reactions. Oddly, I can change the hands, not the face, whatever. So you can be inclusive, you can change skin tones, things like that. And then down the bottom, this is the part that baffles me. People seem to struggle. They aren't familiar with the controls that are in front of them. So from the left, we have the audio settings, which is a microphone. If you want to mute it, you can either Control D or just click and it mutes it. Now, if you click the up arrow, you can see there's the microphone and it'll use the system default or the communication default. I can change to another one if I had it, or with the speakers, I can change or test. And the settings here, you can see I can change the microphone. I can change, if you want, you can press and hold your space bar to unmute your mic if you're in a, let's say you have a noisy room. Good common practice, common courtesy is you mute yourself, and when you talk, you press your space bar to unmute. Again, you can test your speakers. And the goal here, this adaptive audio, it's supposed to sense, it doesn't always, but it's supposed to sense other noise and eliminate it. So it'll help avoid that feedback you get, or that echo. And then if you've got an external device like a USB device to control, you can connect it here. And you can change your video here, so you can have a different camera. You can change your resolution. You can add notifications. And if you want your hand to be raised automatically, you check there, and when you put your hand up, it'll put your digital hand up as well. You can set whether you have live captions, translated. It's about where your recordings are, and you can allow or disallow reactions. Now, I'm not okay, I am a child, but in meetings I try to be professional, so I turn off extra sound. I don't want to disrupt people. Now, if you're using a screen reader for accessibility, you can have it announce reactions, play a sound. So it's up to you how you use it. So that's the functionality. And if you click on the up arrow to pretty much anything, you're going to get that settings again. And then here you can turn your camera on or off, or you can change the camera you're using. I only have one camera, so that's all I get. And then the other thing is you can have background and effects. Use these sparingly because they can get distracting. So under background, you can have a fake, looks like I'm in somebody's house in their kitchen, sitting out on their porch. And then you can blur things. So this is slightly blurred. You can't see too much. Deeper blur. If you have a headset, you're going to have a weird halo around your head. That's okay. Or you can add your own, so you can upload your own background image. And then they've got quite the collection of them. I try to use these sparingly, and basically I put a background, an actual divider behind me, so that it's clean and I don't get the weird little halo, and you can see when I move there's little stutters and things. You can also filter. Again, I would use these very sparingly. If you come into one of my meetings using these things, I might kick you out because you're driving me crazy. But you can add filters, so you can be a plate of eggs and toast. Apparently you could be a birthday cake. Yeah, not my thing, but you're welcome to play. So here I have apparently a panda on my head dropping hearts. So you can choose from funny, you can use characters, you can use costumes. So if I want to look like a wizard, maybe today's Pirate Day. And again, use these sparingly because you'll notice the image is not perfect and it's a little distracting. And then, so now I'm a cowboy apparently. And then you can add accessories, things like that. Again, play with them. So now I'm in space. And then you'll see here this visual effects. It says there's two. So I've got a background and a filter. And then appearance, you can adjust the video lighting. You can use a studio look to sharpen so people can see you better. You can do a bit of a portrait touch up. You can be subtle or you can be smooth. You can do some framing. And then you can use styles like grayscale. What is that one? Cloudy day, sunlight, moonlight, etc. So as you can see, these all stack. I now have 4 things. All I can say is you're going to degrade your performance, use them sparingly, and when you realize it's annoying you like it is me, you click on this little square on top of a square, and you can remove one by one, or you can remove all, and magically here we go. Okay, so here next we have the little box with the CC. This is closed captioning. So if you put closed captioning on, you will see it at the bottom of the screen like this. The meeting language is English, therefore I'm going to have English closed captioning. I can have it live, or like I said, I can translate if the meeting is in a different language. The reaction button, basically all that does is toggle your reaction bar on or off. So really simple. You want to see reactions, you click it. I like to use them sparingly, but sometimes you don't want to interrupt somebody and you want to say congratulations. I send a little celebration thing. Now, this is the one, for whatever reason, people can't seem to find. Present now, translation, share your screen. So when you click present now, and this is, I think, the most easily mistaken area. People get this mixed up. So you can choose. So when you click present now, I have options. I can share a single Chrome tab. So you can see that's the default. So I pick the one that I want to share, and then I hit share. Now, until I pick one, this is not an option. I can't select share. Now, if you're sharing a tab with audio, you want to make sure that's on. If you don't want to share your audio, turn it off. Now, maybe you want to share a window that's not a Chrome tab. So, for example, I have shortcut processing a video, I have my Windows Explorer, and I have 2 Chromes. I can click on the specific window, and you see the share is now available. I only do this for webinars because that way I can show just one thing. Most of the time, if I'm on a meeting with a team, I share my entire screen. And the reason I pick entire screen is if I'm sharing something in Chrome and then I need to flip out to something else, I don't have to reshare. Now, if I want to share audio, I have to share with a tab. So with Chrome, I have the option for audio. I don't have it with window or entire screen. And again, the share is grayed out. So you click on it and you hit share. Now, brace yourselves. We're about to hit the infinity screen. And by the way, as a reminder or as a tip, if you're in Google by yourself recording a video like I'm doing right now, and nobody else is there and you're not on the active screen, it's very needy. It'll keep, I think it's every 2 minutes or at least once, it will say, nobody else is in the meeting, you're not in this tab, should I close this, yes or no? So you have to go in and say, no, I'm busy, leave me alone. But when you share your screen, it always defaults to the Google Meet screen, and it gives you this weird little infinity screen, and it'll say, you have an infinity mirror, don't share, share just a tab or a different window instead. I always hit ignore because I usually am going through different things. And as you can see now, we have this cool infinity effect, messes with people. So here you can stop sharing, or you can hide the stop sharing control. And because I shared my entire window, now I can show you different things jumping back and forth. And then again, I can come here and say stop presenting. And I have it set so my guests can share their screen as well. So that's present now. And then the other one that seems to confuse people is when you say, if you have a question, raise your hand, people still do this. Now I've got it so that when you do that, it raises my digital hand. You can see it's raised over here. And I can, when I speak, it will ask me to lower my hand, or I can leave it raised, or I can click on it to lower it. So it's really cool. Just if you're in a meeting and you're voting, everybody click on raise your hand, let the presenter count your hands, and then put your hands down. This big red button, it's an old school phone. You can use that to leave the call. And then you've got these 3 vertical dots, which are more options. So if you're the host, you can manage recording. Really simple. You get this recording screen. You can say include captions, start a transcript, take notes with Gemini, and hit start recording. I won't, because it'll clash with what I'm already recording. You can change your screen layout so you can have it side by side, you can have it tiled, you can spotlight a speaker, you can have a main speaker and then side speakers. And you can also change the tile size based on how many you want to have on the screen. And I usually do this if somebody's just monitoring the call and I want to record. So for example, I get a lot of AI tools in here. I will hide the tiles without video so they're not showing up in the recording. And then full screen, it just takes you to that full screen so that you don't have toolbars and things. I don't know, I never use that function, to be honest. And then you can also do a picture-in-picture. So if you're sharing a screen or you're working on something, you can have your little picture on the side, bring the call back. I've already showed you the background effects. If you're having trouble with your computer, you can dial in and you just click here to say use your phone for audio. It'll give you, it can call you or you can call in, and you can ask it to remember your phone number. If you have bugs, rarely, I've never used this, but you can report a problem. If somebody's annoying you, they spam you, you can report abuse. They've got some troubleshooting, and then again, all of the settings we've already talked about are in that 3 dots. Now the last thing you need to know is these over here. So the I brings up the meeting details, and you can see here's how somebody can join. If there's I highly recommend, if you have a meeting, add the attachments here so people can find it. You can see more numbers depending on where they are, and you can copy the joining info and send it by email from here if for some reason you're adding somebody last minute to the meeting. So that's meeting details. People, this just shows who's in the meeting. So I can add somebody on the fly. Let's say, I'm having a marketing meeting and we need the head of sales in. We can add them and we can invite them by name or by email. We can search for people in our organization. And this just tells me I am the only one in the meeting. It shows that I'm speaking and I'm a contributor. And I can pin myself so that I can see me as the speaker, just for what I'm viewing or for everyone. So if I'm the meeting host and I invite somebody in to speak, common courtesy, I pin them so that everybody sees them. So that's the people. And this is literally, I think this and share your screen are in witness protection because nobody seems to know, despite years of Zoom, nobody seems to know that Google Meet also has a chat. So you click on the little thought bubble. When it's inactive, it's got little lines of thought. When it's active, it becomes a blank thought bubble. And here as the host, I can, if it wasn't my default setting, I could turn it off and say people can't send messages. I let people send messages, why wouldn't I? But here you can paste things in, and once you've typed something, then you have to hit send message. And it comes up here, and let's say I have an announcement, hey, buy now, click this button. I can pin that and it'll show up at the top of the conversation. So that's the one people seem to lose. I always put links in there, or I'll add some notes or whatever. That's where you find it. And then of course you've got meeting tools, and then over here we've got host control. So I'll show you those, and then that's it. It's not complicated. So for meeting tools, you can add in other tools like Figma for doing wireframes. I've never used Lucid, so I don't know what Lucid Spark is. Poly is a polling option, but here's where you find breakout rooms, polls, Q&As, where you can do recordings, transcripts, etc. And it's weird because I have a couple of add-ons installed. Miro is a sort of a drawing mind mapping tool. I have no idea what the Confluence is, and I don't know who is the Read meeting note taker, because I use Gemini. So these are things probably you might want to disable if you don't use them, but that's just some more tools to help you run better meetings, more engaging meetings. I love Q&A, I love polls. And again, if you have a large group, you might want to do breakouts so that they can get to have smaller discussions. Kind of cool. And then last but not least, we have the host controls. I'm pretty flexible. I rarely actually actively manage my guests, because I figure if you're annoying, I'm going to throw you out of the meeting. If you're not annoying, you can do whatever you need to do to have the meeting better. So I always let people share their screen. I always allow them to send chat messages. I really like them to send reactions, give me a thumbs up. Now, if I'm doing a presentation and I don't want anybody to answer questions or ask questions and interrupt, I can turn off the microphone. Maybe I want to have a presentation I'm recording and I don't want people on video that I have to edit out later, so I can turn off or on their video. And then here's where I would set it if I wanted to be the one who starts the meeting. I'm going to be honest, I never use that, because people I know, they know if I'm late for a reason, so they'll pop in and they'll get started. But you can set who comes in, and of course, why wouldn't I allow questions? And again, there's no trust in this world. If you are in a room full of strangers, I'd probably hide the questions until I've had a chance to prove them. I only have meetings with people I know, like, and trust, so I let them ask their questions. Honestly, I don't know why I would allow anonymous questions. You may have a use case, I don't. And then if you're doing a live stream, you might want to disable Q&A, and you may want to let your contributors share activities. So that, in a nutshell, is literally everything. I know I usually talk about Pareto principle. That's everything you possibly could need to know about Google Meet. The last thing I will share is when I end this call, so I've set my recording. When I end this call, Google takes its time. It'll process the recording, it'll process the transcript and Gemini notes, and I'll get an email with the title and the date and time of the meeting in it. And from there, I can click into the email and I can access the notes, the transcript, or the recording. And then, of course, I can take the raw notes or the raw transcript, put it through Gemini or ChatGPT, and turn it into something else. So I always record my conversations, I always transcribe them, and then I've got something I can fall back on later. So let's just double check. I think we covered pretty much everything possible. So we showed how to embed it in Calendar. You can send it via email. Believe it or not, you can put it in a doc or a slide. Unfortunately, there's sunsetting Jamboard. Jamboard was kind of a whiteboarding tool. I loved it, but it's about to disappear. And as you can see, Meet is saying, hey, what about me? And literally, it is the neediest app I've ever met. I don't know how to disable this, but if you're gone for too long, it comes back and says, are you still there? I once did a webinar where I was sharing my screen and I was trying to record, got done, and I realized that the recording had stopped, and actually it kicked me out of the meeting. So beware. All right, that is everything you could possibly need to know about Google Meet. This is the only tool I'm showing you 100% because it is that simple and it's that important. So thank you, and I will see you in the other modules.